I'm bringing this up because this wouldn't be such a terrible thing, like them not being able to go to work, if they were being paid reasonable salaries to begin with. Hey, how's it going? You good? I'm good. You've already read the title, but I'm just gonna say it again. Today I'm gonna be talking about how the current pandemic that we are all in has affected the fast fashion industry, specifically the people working at the bottom of the chain of the fast fashion industry, factory workers. So the reason why I'm making this video is because in a last video that I made, I was making fun of clothes on fast fashion websites, prettylittlething, Zara, that sort of thing. It got me wondering, how are they fulfilling all these orders? Because on their websites they state that they are adhering to the regulations and, keeping it safe, but it just didn't make sense to me how they would be able to do that if everyone was observing the rules, and we all know clothes are not an essential service. I was just curious and I had to dig into it. So I found out that a lot of these fast fashion companies have actually made huge losses since the start of the lockdowns. I'm talking £2.5 billion in losses, and I will link the articles that I'm referring to below, because that's where I got the stats from, accurate as of me recording this video, which you'll probably see a week later. In those losses, companies like H&M are asking for government bailouts because they're going to be in debt, and they are already in debt to manufacturers in developing countries that include Venezuela, Cambodia, and Bangladesh. And the largest exporter for clothes for Bangladesh is H&M, the Swedish company, which has been doing loads of online sales, which just doesn't add up, because where are they getting the clothes from if they're not paying? Anyway, so the story goes that manufacturers in Bangladesh have been unable to fulfill some of the orders and ship them because of travel and government restrictions because of the pandemic. As a result, they are now in debt. They owe their workers, paying 60% of what they owe, meaning that the other 40% would have to be covered by the Bangladeshi factory owners themselves. This is just bizarre to me. Like, they are still making money right now. There is no reason why they shouldn't be paying these people their money. And the people who are most affected as all this chain reaction trickles down are the factory workers. For the factory workers who already make a bare minimum, I tell you, I would not work for 45p an hour or something like 45p per item you make. No one puts in that amount of effort for very little in return most of the time. Well, with the exception of YouTubers, but that's besides the point. In Bangladesh's case, the government solution has been to offer loans to these factory workers, not relief, loans. This means that these people are now in debt to the government. And if you think about the time it took for all these orders to be cancelled, and then the government decided to give them loans, they were already probably starving, in debt, only now getting this somewhat relief. With everything in the air on the pandemic and whether borders will open anytime soon, these people are going to be unemployed for the foreseeable future, which is just not good for the Bangladesh economy and for these people's livelihoods. And that is very sad. That is very terrible. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because this wouldn't be such a terrible thing, like them not being able to go to work, if they were being paid reasonable salaries to begin with, but they weren't. So now they are stuck, essentially. And you have people, like as I was reading these articles, you have people commenting, why should big companies be bailed out and be bailing out these other countries anyway? We need this money first, whatever. No, you don't. I mean, I get everyone is having a hard time, but when you've been living on next to nothing under normal circumstances, imagine. And for what? We have been conditioned to think that clothing should be as cheap as possible. I am not even gonna shame anyone. I love a sale. If I have the money, which I rarely do, but if I do, I see a sale and I need something, I'm hopping on that train. But that's the problem. More people should be attacking these companies for these ethics. What happened to the world where, clothes would rotate every season, not every single week there is a new line of clothing coming out, and these people are working their heads off day in, day out, and no one talks about this. Like, People talk about it, but they don't do anything about it. And all companies do is greenwash, like H&M have their green and conscious line or whatever the hell it's called. We all know there is no proof that they have fabric recycling facilities. There is no proof that they source their materials sustainably. And these people at the far end of the line supplying all this stuff from the cotton growers, cotton pickers, and then the people in the factories, all of them are they're screwed. There's nothing else to say, except there is. I know you're thinking, okay, you've been yelling at us for however long this has been. What am I supposed to do as an individual? Well, you could start by, I don't know, just reducing the amount of times you have to buy clothes. Like, do you really need clothes every week? That doesn't make sense. And if you do, can you not thrift them? This is thrifted. This is one of my favorite sweaters. This was a gift. This was thrifted. I'm good. You don't need to know what my bottoms are. I'm wearing pajamas. I'm at home. But I'm good. Why is that so hard for people? I do appreciate that thrifting has become like a bigger trend. What I don't appreciate is companies then hopping onto the vintage train and making clothes that look pre-vintage, even though they're not actual vintage. And it's like, no. And I also don't appreciate vintage shops that then overprice their vintage articles, because then people who were thrift shopping before it became a trend now can't afford clothes anywhere. That's an issue within itself. I just thought I'd bring light to how the pandemic has affected these factory workers and everyone at the bottom of the fast fashion chain. These companies need to be held accountable. Maybe this video will be these small droplet that maybe someday the rest of the world will get the message that the level of exploitation has just gone way too far. Anyway, I hope this video is giving you a bit of food for thought. Let me know in the comments what you think, and thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.